Welcome to Pathways to Aviation's Career Symposium. Day 3, Session 3. We're on a roll. We've created a lot of momentum. We had a great career panel discussion about pilot careers. That was our second activity of the day. Now we have a live interview. But just to give it a little bit of purpose, Pathways to Aviation is a nonprofit organization which informs, inspires, and engages the aviation's next generation. And we do that in a number of ways. One is through our Career Readiness Certification Program, where we work closely with high school and college students, as well as emerging leaders, or in this case, YoPros, to develop their job seeking and interviewing skills to the point where they are successful in the job interview. That way, when they are in the interview, those employers say, wow, and then they hire them on the spot. And we also host weekly workshops every Wednesday at 4 o'clock. We're hosting workshops about a different career planning tip. And then we host special events, networking nights, and then a week-long celebration of aviation careers. We took a week that was made available to us by the NBAA, and we accepted that challenge. And we dedicated this entire week to the future of aviation. And that's why we brought in today's guest. Her name is Jo D'Amato. She is with the National Business Aviation Association. So what I'd like to do, Jo, is turn it over to you and tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are now, a little bit about your career journey.
All right. Okay. If I talk too long about that, let me know, because it's so easy to get excited about things like career journeys. But hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here on behalf of the National Business Aviation Association. Would have loved to have had a platform like this when I was learning about aviation as a career path. My origin story starts back in my teen years. I knew I wanted to be in aviation when I was very young. Not because I had any family members because I saw the movie that inspired most of us to want to be in aviation, which was Top Gun. And my parents didn't really know what to do with my enthusiasm for aviation. So it just sort of hung around for a while. And then we learned that I could start taking flight lessons only about 7 or 8 miles from our house, where our closest general aviation airport was. So I was that New Jersey high schooler who was learning to fly. And a fun fact about New Jersey, you have to be 17 years old to get your driver's license. We might be the only state where you have to wait that late. But those of you who have researched it in aviation, you know at 16, you can solo. So I would be flying an airplane around New Jersey, but I was unable to drive myself to the airport to my lessons. And I learned that there were universities that specialized in aviation professional degrees. I looked at a number of them. I am a proud Florida Tech grad from Melbourne, Florida. I did my undergrad in aviation management with flight technology. In addition to my education, I was an undergrad flight instructor. I was able to get all of my ratings and get a chance to work for the university. So I had early experience doing job interviews, developing my leadership presence as a flight instructor, as someone who was guiding those who had never, many had never been in an airplane before, yet they were ready to commit to an aviation career path. And then I came to a crossroads where I had to decide what was next for me after graduation. And was I going to follow a route of trying to pursue a scheduled airline career, or were there maybe some other branches that I should take a look at? And I had an accidental path into business aviation. And as I was waiting for some flying opportunities, I found that I really enjoyed using the aviation management part of my degree and applying that in different ways. And so for the last 22 years or so, I've just enjoyed a number of opportunities where I've applied my flying experience, my CFI experience. I have about 1,000 hours of flying time. And I've been able to work a number of roles in business aviation. Right now, my most recent position is working on our educational strategy, which has a lot right now to do with adult learning and online learning platforms, but also an area I'm very passionate about, workforce development, and how we can encourage you to grab those brass rings, consider aviation as a career path, and also to challenge you to think about some of the non-traditional things you can do in aviation, and especially in business aviation, where it really can be a choose your own adventure type of scenario. There is no one linear path to success in our industry. So I'm thrilled to be here and to see how we can build on that.
Sweet. Well, thank you for that description. I think we have a lot in common, especially with all those sweet medals in the background. I have 2 racks at home on our wall, so I love running as well. And I love workforce development. And I've been a member for 2 years, I believe, at NBAA. And it wasn't until about 4 or 5 months ago where I saw your name pop up and you joined some big workforce development task. And I was like, oh my gosh, we need to find a way to talk to Joe. And so I want to learn a little bit more about what that's like. But before we do that, can you kind of give me a description of what NBAA is really all about, and tell me what, like, business aviation, what is that like?
Yeah, well, those are areas you may not be familiar with if you're starting to learn about aviation, and if you're not familiar with the association world, but there is literally an association for everything, including an association for associations out there. The National Business Aviation Association was founded over 70 years ago. We're actually getting close to our 75th anniversary. And our mission is to help business aviation thrive in the United States and around the world. And that mission is multifaceted, but essentially our members are companies who own or operate aircraft to support their business. That's one example, or they support those who own or operate aircraft. They could be, I'm guessing, any brand you're probably wearing today. If you wanted to look at the, oh my, did I lose a connection? Can you still hear me?
Keep going.
Pete, can you maybe the brand of shoes that you're wearing? You might find that the brand of shoes that you're wearing, there's a flight department attached to that brand of shoe, or the hoodie that you're wearing, or the baseball cap. That may be an example of a company who uses the flight department to support their business. There's also the aircraft manufacturers. There are the companies that work on the interiors. There are the catering companies and ground transportation companies and fuel support companies. All of these make up this beautiful landscape of our membership. And then our members are also individuals. So you can become a student member or a professional member and be part of a community where you can share resources and make connections that hopefully will take you through your career.
Sweet, thank you for that. I knew what it was about, but many of our students don't know, and it's that student opportunity that I really wanted you to touch on, and you did. As I told you before the call, I follow the Yo Pros quite a bit. They may not know who I am, but I'm watching them, because to me, while they may be seeking mentoring opportunities for themselves, our high school and college students are looking for mentors, and that peer-to-peer connection, they could be providing mentorship to our young people. And I think there's some cool synergy with that. So I'm pretty excited about that. So tell me about what this workforce development thing is, and what your role is, even with NBAA, with workforce development.
I would love to. I'm gonna say that every single one of us who is in aviation right now, doesn't matter if it's your first day or if you're counting the days to your retirement, every single one of us should be in full-time recruiter mode. We do our jobs where we collect our paychecks, and then we also put on this hat where I would invite you to talk to anybody in aviation and not get excited about how excited they are about being in aviation. So we're our own best recruiters. We do a lot of this very well at a grassroots level. We come into your high schools, your colleges, your career days. Your alumni may come back and connect with you, or the local chapter of EAA or Women in Aviation or others may come and spend time with you. One of my roles and goals at NBAA is for us to also look at that 30,000 foot view perspective. And how do we tie all of these great grassroots initiatives together? How do we put people who need mentors together? How do we help you find out about scholarship opportunities or internship opportunities or events in your backyard you can take advantage of? There's so many roles to that. I think we might need a few more hours to cover it all, but really, I think the takeaway message is NBA is committed to partnering with all of those enthusiastic about aviation to make sure there's a way for anyone interested in embarking on a career path for us to have the resource for you or be able to point you towards that resource.
That's incredible. And what we're finding, and we've found for some time now, but we're an organization that works with the individuals, the young people who are definitely gung-ho about getting into aviation and aerospace, but we're also out there reaching the schools to welcome young people who may not have aviation on their radar to say, hey, this is something that you can aspire to become. And if you're picking up skills now, they're likely transferable to this industry. And so by working with them and using aviation as our backdrop, but really our funnel, we are actually ushering young people into the industry, which is exciting. And then we get to share those people with, yesterday we talked to ATEC's new Choose Aerospace organization. So we want to share them with the A&P, the mechanics of the world and the pilots of the world. And that's why where we're at, we're trying to partner with everybody, and including NBAA, and how do you get into business aviation, and ISTAT, and how do we work with them on trading and aircraft parts and things like that. Whatever it takes, because as you're about to say, we have this looming workforce shortage, which we had, and now it's kind of temporarily derailed, but we know that when it comes back, it's going to come back like a tsunami, and we need to be prepared for that. And that is our goal, is to offset any adverse outcome from a workforce, call it pandemic, that we're about to see. And so we're on this mission, and taking NBAA with us along that ride is going to help us achieve our goals, and hopefully with us around, you can achieve yours. But can you kind of talk about if you're a young student, or if the young students out there who are remotely thinking about aviation, how they can enter the industry from your perspective?
There's not just one entry point. So it's a difficult question, not because it's not possible, but because there's so many different ways you can take your enthusiasm and turn it into action. The first thing I want to point out is, I know we do spend a lot of time talking about the pilot path or the A&P path, and it's important if that doesn't light you up, if you're a student listening to this and that's why you don't want to do those two things. Instead, I would have you talk with your parents or a teacher you really like, or your guidance counselor. Where do your interests lie? Do you like cooking? Aviation catering is a global business. Do you like interior design? Well, did you know that our aircraft need to be appointed, but also that you need to take into account the materials you use and the weight of them, because weight is very important when operating an aircraft, or the material. How does it respond from a safety perspective, being fire retardant or something like that? Are you someone who, is interested in the law, or you want to go into accounting, or you are really excited about working on marketing campaigns? Are you someone who loves customer service? You find that you always take a leadership role in a club that you belong to. All of those things translate to aviation and business aviation. I would say get curious. join some of these organizations. You can certainly join NBAA as a student member. You'll start getting newsletters that you can read up on daily. We send out a daily update. Start learning the trade articles. Read. Go to websites and try to make connections. If you're not on LinkedIn yet, I don't think it's ever too soon to create a professional presence for yourself and to start connecting with people and just asking them. You're not asking them for a job, you're asking them about their job. And maybe that curiosity will lead you to what career path they took, what education they might recommend, what scholarship opportunity. So I know it's a hard question. There's just not one path, but we need you. We're having this conversation with you now, regardless of what's going on in the world right now in this moment. It doesn't change the fact that there are going to be so many jobs for you in this industry by the time you're ready. And we want you to get excited about them and to find all these opportunities. So when we call, you're ready to report for duty.
Yeah, we do a lot of coaching on networking, establishing those relationships now. And it's funny because you started by saying talk to family. And the one place students don't go to is family, even their own parents. But if families have people over all the time, or they go to other families for picnics. Those are the people. That's where you can start. That's where you can start practicing your networking. You can practice your elevator pitch. You can learn about their career goals, their whys. Yes. And it helps you formulate kind of what you want. You can learn, okay, I know I don't want to do accounting, but maybe architecture is my thing, or whatever the craft is, but you can fine tune and say, that's where I want to be. And then when you meet that person or persons, you can establish relationships with them. And then if you do it right, it should just snowball with like a domino effect, and you start meeting more and more people. We really even advocate the opportunity of how do you land a job interview without using a resume? And you do that through people. Now you need the resume and the LinkedIn.
How you work your connections and so often I will speak at events like these. I mean, previously they might have been more in person, but I'll put out there right now. If you are watching this and you want to find me on LinkedIn and connect with me, I will accept your invitation. I do ask right in your message, I heard you on the Pathways to Aviation live or broadcast. So I know how we made that connection, why you want to be connected to me. But that gives me a chance to see you're eager, you were paying attention, and then I want you to feel free to reach out to me. And I know so many people in our industry feel the same way. Taking that extra moment to walk up to a speaker afterwards and make eye contact and shake their hand if you can, or tell them one sentence or thought that really, really connected with you, shows that you were an active listener, that you're eager, and that's the type of person they're going to think about when they are looking for an intern, or when they're aware of a scholarship in your area. And all of those things, you're laying down the breadcrumbs that could lead to your first or next paying job. These are very important things that are aside from the technical. There's the technical you may need to know in aviation, but you also need to know these interpersonal things are really important.
Yeah. Have you been?
And I'm a mom of teenagers, so we have these conversations in our house.
Yeah.
We're going through it with our junior in high school right now, and starting to set up this exact discussion. So trust me, I get it from a different angle also.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, mom, and we believe in the power of three, right? So your parents are saying this, and you might blow it off. Your teacher might be suggesting this, and you blow that person off. And then Pathways comes in, and then they're like, oh my gosh, my mom was telling me about this the whole time. Maybe I should listen. And it happens.
Always listen to your mom. That's really what this podcast is about. Yeah.
Right. So, and we have students on the call with whom we talk with weekly, and so they hear this over and over because we believe in, if you can't break out of your shell, and like I have a son and he has a tough time breaking out of his shell, but when he does, he just explodes with information. And his thing is coding. Coding is applicable in this industry, and we need coders. I don't know that stuff. I don't know where he got it from. But the fact is, this is an industry that takes all specialties. Whether you have a piece of paper to prove that you graduated from college or not, there's an opportunity for you to get into this industry. And it takes people like you and I and others to just say, come on in, we'll take you, and we'll help guide you to the right spot or the right person and that sort of thing. And that's why I love this thing called workforce development. Every time I see an initiative in our local community or in the industry, I just kind of join it because it's a major topic of discussion, not just for aviation, but in general. Yeah. And like my dream is that picket fence around a home where you can build a family. Yeah. And if aviation can be the corridor through which you get there, then like we're solid.
And well, the thing with aviation too, and to be fair, I haven't worked in other industries. We love what we do. My kids see that I love what I do. My husband, their dad, is an airline pilot. They see that he loves what he does. And so the picket fence, the house, the family, it's all great, but you want to love the thing that's taking you away from that. So when I have to go away from my family, my house, my comfort area, to know I'm going towards something where I'm going to get so much excitement and satisfaction. I'm going to spend time with people who also feel the same way I do. That's more than a job. It's even more than a career. It becomes an extension of those things you enjoy. And I don't know, is it like that in other industries? I don't always get the same amount of excitement and expression from my friends who aren't part of our industry.
It's a different industry, I'll tell you that. And with every person I talk to, there's that energy about them, and it doesn't matter their role. They just love it. We talk to a lot of Civil Air Patrol cadets, and they are eating this up, and they love it. And then we'll go to the GA side of the airport, and even the front desk people are just like thriving with energy. And it's like, wow, okay, did we just tap into this by accident, or is there something going on? And obviously there's something going on, and we need to take this to the next realm because of that big force that could be coming our way in a few months or 18 months, and we want to be ready for that. So
absolutely.
Important. Yeah. We can wrap this up, but any closing comments, any advice for high school or college students or yo pros?
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm a mom. I love to give advice. I think it's so important, and I'm talking directly to the students who are watching this. Be true to yourself, and don't just take that as a phrase that's on a sign, hanging above a window. But if you're true to yourself, if you have the chance to, even before your job, if you have a chance to go into school every day and feel like you are always able to be who you are in front of people, that you're not trying to be someone you're not trying to put on an attitude or a different way than how you are when you're with your family or at home. In this industry, I have seen success. I have seen people succeed because we have discovered who we are. And so then you never have to guess that someone is really being sincere. Being authentic will get you far and further. Your integrity, your ability to be honest, your reputation, it's all you have. And so you want to protect that now as you're starting to establish your presence. And then you want to know that you're protecting that all the way through your career. Because when something like that is damaged, then you've got to do a whole lot of extra work to climb back up that hill. But if you're always carrying that with you intact, you're going to go further. And then remember always to be a good sport, be a good teammate. Aviation is a team sport. So always remember that you can lend a hand. It might be who's next to you. It might be who's a year or two behind you. I'm going to guarantee you someone is going to lend you a hand who's a little bit ahead of you. So remember that team sport aspect. But like I said, connect with me on LinkedIn. Please check out NBAA, nba.org/student is where we have some resources. We have a dynamic careers in business aviation video. We have a download of our magazine that's written by by students, typically college interns, for students. And there's a whole lot of other benefits you can take advantage of, and that's a good place to get started. So
that's awesome. You guys also have career fairs.
We do. We've done an online career fair. We really love to. You mentioned this week was vacated physically by NBAA. This is the week we would have all been together in Orlando. And one of my favorite things on the last day is Careers in Business Aviation Day. And that's where I would have hoped to meet a lot of students who may have traveled from very far or have been in Orlando's backyard. And they would have had a chance to put all this into practice right away. Right. That's not something we can do right now, but I can't wait until we can do that again.
Yeah, we'll even be happy to help you put it on since you'll be in Vegas.
We will be in Vegas next year. If you're not familiar with NBAA, we typically alternate where we have our large business aviation convention and exhibition. And so this year we would have been in Orlando. Next year we will be in Las Vegas. And our website is NBAA.org. And so you can see all the events. We may also have something in your backyard as we get back to in-person and face-to-face events.
Yeah, we can't wait for that. But in the meantime, having an interface like this is incredible because it brings students from all across the country into a room without having to travel, and they get to meet experts like you, and it's pretty darn amazing. I know it is for me, and so I'm only hoping it's just as incredible for them. So I appreciate the time you've given us today. I do look forward to more interactions with NBAA. I know we've already met with Phil. We've met with you now. Maybe we'll bring you both back together, and we can just have a lot of laughs. If we can advance this a little bit to make the aviation industry just blossom, then that's what we're going to keep doing. So again, thank you very much. Totally appreciate it, and we hope you have a great day.
Thank you so much. This was terrific. Best of luck with the rest of the week. Take care.
All right. Thank you.